I'm going to begin to review what we discussed last week. Last week we talked about a subject you see a lot in science is called reducing a number using the proper number of significant digits. I'm going to go back to that, but at the same time, what I'm going to do is show you how to study for a math test. Oftentimes I talk to parents and they say, well, my child has always struggled with math. And then I'll inevitably they'll say something like, well, they're a bad test taker. I want to address some of those comments this evening as we review what we discussed last week. So what I want to do is I want to act as though we were studying for a test on reducing a number using the proper number of significant digits. So let's review what we did last week and at the same time act as though we are reviewing for a test on this very subject. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look. What we have is we have a problem we did last week. This is 3.14 divided by 2. 3.14 divided by 2. And what we did last week was we put this in the calculator. 3.14 divided by 2. 3.14 divided by 2 is 1.57. 1.57. All right. So let's say 3.14 divided by 2 is 1.57. A couple of weeks before we did that by hand. This time we're putting it in the calculator just to pick up the pace. All right. So now what we have is we have 3.14 divided by 2. We get 1.57. And what we're going to do is we're going to observe that this has 3 decimal places, 3 significant digits. This has 1 significant digit. Our final answer would have to be the lowest number of significant digits, which is 1 in this case, And what we end up with is we needing an answer that has 1 significant digit. All right, so what we're going to do is observe our answer, observe that we've got 1 significant digit here, and to know what to do with this significant digit, we're going to look at the number after that. In this case, if it's 5 or more, you're going to increase this 1. So because this is 5, you're going to increase this 1 to the answer 2. I had the answer 1.57. That was a mistake. The answer should have been 2. The answer should have been 2. All right. So now what we're going to do is look at this problem. So what we have here is we have 3.14 divided by 2.9. Again, I'll put that in the calculator. 3.14 divided by 2.9. And we get a lengthy answer of 1.172. 1.172. Here you've got 3 significant digits. Any non-zero number is significant. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a 3.14. Let me try that one more time. 3.14 divided by 2.9 is 1.0827. It's a rather lengthy number. All right? It's a rather lengthy number. But here, any non-zero, last week we talked about any non-zero number being significant. So all these are non-zero numbers. That's 3 significant digits. These are both non-zero numbers. That's 2 significant digits. The final answer should be written in the lowest number of significant digits that you have. All right, so it's 2 in this case. So you got a significant digit here, a decimal place here, a decimal place here, decimal place here. You need 2 significant digits. So you're going to look at this 8 to know what to do with this second significant digit. If this is 5 or more, if the 8 is 5 or more, you're going to increase this digit right here. It is 5 or more, so instead of 1.0, you're going to make it 1.1. And that's what we got last week, 1.1. 1.1. So I have the answers that we got last week. These are the answers that we got last week. And what I'm doing now is I'm revisiting the same problems that we did last week. I'm acting as if I'm studying for a test that I have tomorrow on significant digits. So what am I doing? I'm revisiting the same problems that I did last week. It's very important when you study for a math test, you revisit problems that you already have done that you know the answers are correct. So we're studying. This is how you study for a math test. You redo problems. Let's take a look at another problem that we did last week. All right, so we have, this is 3.14. Let's say we have 3.14 divided by 0.62. All right, so let's talk about the number of significant digits here real quick. Some of the rules that we talked about previously, any non-zero numbers are significant. All right, if you have a decimal point, any non-zero numbers are significant. So 236, that has 3 significant digits. 4,629, all these are non-zeros. Those are 4 significant digits. 4 significant digits to that number. And then when you don't have a decimal point, the same rule applies. You have 298. There's no decimal point. Every non-zero number is significant. All right, so there are 3 significant digits there. And then if you have, let's say, 28, all right, both these digits are non-zeros, so you got 2 significant digits there. All right, and then there's another rule we talked about last week. We said that zeros in between non-zero numbers are significant, you know, both for decimals and non-decimals. So for a decimal, you have 22.0604. Zeros that are lodged in between non-zero numbers, when you have a decimal point, are significant. So here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 significant digits there. And then you could have, if you don't have any decimal point, the same rule applies. Zeros in between non-zero numbers are significant. So let's say you have 20,204. All right, or let's say you have 206, no decimal. Any zero that's lodged in between non-zero numbers are always significant. So here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 significant digits there. And here you have a zero lodged in between 2 non-zeros. So here you have 3. Any zero lodged in between 2 non-zero numbers are always significant. We talked about all these rules last week. I'm just reviewing. We're reviewing. We're studying for a test that we could have tomorrow. All right. So then, let's say you've got a decimal point. You've got a decimal point, and let's say you have zeros after a non-zero number. Those zeros are significant. So let's say you have 2.060. All right. So here you have a 0 after a non-zero number. That's always significant by rule. So this 0 is significant not because it follows this 2. This 0 is significant because of this rule right here. Zeros in between non-zero numbers are significant. So you'd have 4 significant digits there. And let's say you have 6.20. Again, you have a decimal point and you have a 0 after a non-zero number. This 0 is after this non-zero number. It is significant, and it is number of significant digits there is 3. Let's go through a couple more rules that we talked about last week. All right, so if you have here a 0 before a non-zero number, those are not significant. So let that rule, an example of that rule would be 0.0620, something like that. All right, so here you have a non-zero number, and then you have zeros before that non-zero number. By rule, these zeros are not significant. However, this 0 is significant because of this third rule here. It's a 0 that follows a non-zero number. So in this case, you'd have 1, 2, 3 significant digits. Last rule I want to talk about, excuse me, last rule that I want to talk about is this one where you don't have a decimal point. Zeros after non-zero numbers are significant, are not significant. So let's say you have 620. 620, you have that's not a decimal point. You've got the 0 after the non-zero number. This 0 in this case is not significant by rule. So number of significant digits there is 2.